I think we're live. Woohoo! So welcome everyone to Military Mondays. If you and I don't know each other, I really want to get to know you. I am retired Major Brenda Sanchez, and I live in Colorado Springs, and I own my own business with my husband, and we help businesses to gain clients and retain them for life. We are also the best-selling author of Life's Real Currency, and you can pick up a copy free today by going to our website, and I'll put that down below in the chat after the live. So I bring you these interviews, usually an interview, every single Monday morning, and it's either with a spouse of a veteran or it is a veteran business owner. And today I have somebody who fits both categories on. Trinity is amazing. I met her out networking. If you've been watching my Military Mondays, there's a theme here. It's all about networking. So if you have your own business, even if you don't, we're going to talk about when you're getting out of the service, how do you make that transition? It's called networking. So Trinity and I met at a luncheon, a business luncheon, and I was super impressed with her. And I heard a little bit of her story, so I wanted to bring her on today to share that story with you. So welcome this morning, Trinity. Thanks for getting up early on a Monday morning to be with me here live.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for having me. I'm honored.
So let's start with your service in the Army, because you served in the Army. Let's talk a little bit about that. What is it that you did in the Army? And maybe why did you join the Army?
Great question. I love talking about my service and connections with the military. You know, growing up, I was the only one in my family that even looked into this whole military option. So of course It came as a huge shock to everyone I know when I was 19 and I was saying goodbye because I was on my way to boot camp. But you know, the reasons that led me to joining the military in the first place, it is definitely a long story. I had a very untraditional childhood growing up and was legally emancipated by the time I was 17 and owned my own home. And I just knew that staying where I was at that young with no parents and no friends and no support was not going to get me where I wanted to get in life. And I looked into the military several times throughout high school, and this just looked like it was meant for me. I was always good at taking orders, showing up at the right time, right place, right attitude, and right uniform. So it worked out great. But yeah, I was active duty from 2008 to 2012, and I was a biomedical equipment technician in the Army. So I worked on medical equipment in hospitals.
Awesome. And so what are some of the things that you learned while you were in the service that you think propelled you to be a successful business owner today?
That's a loaded question. I love that. I could get on my soapbox about this all day. Really, you know, the discipline, the commitment to showing up and doing what you were told, right, to do, but then you kind of want to because you have pride in that. So of course it was the discipline. Of course it was the agility, right? We have to be agile. We have to be able to adapt. And that, I think, is my number one takeaway that has served me the most in this life, is what I've been able to bounce back from very quickly and adapt to and still carry out what I needed to successfully.
Awesome. So let's talk about that for a second, because you've had a business during COVID and this is bouncing back. So let's talk about how you pivoted, because maybe there's a business owner out there that struggled, that is a veteran business owner or even a civilian business owner, because you helped them also. But talk about some of the things you did to pivot during COVID.
Oh, yeah. So let's just be fully transparent, right? Being a business owner, let's just start with that idea. It's hard, right? There is nothing easy about this. And you do have to learn so many different skills. You have to become a subject matter expert in so many different things, and you wear so many different hats. And, you know, I want to say, looking back on all the times I had to pivot or get super creative, right? Or try to figure out a solution to something. It all has to do with that agility. And so COVID hurt businesses all over the world. And my heart goes out to all of them. You know, we really do know that small businesses account for over 44% of economic stimulation. We are necessary. We're necessary to economies. We're necessary to societies. We are necessary for progression as a human race, right? And so when COVID just tore down business after business after business, yeah, some of us had to get smart, right? Fortunately, I was already 100% remote. So that was in my favor, right? And so I was already able to help people online, but now there's that fear that they're not going to be able to make it through the season, or there's that pivot that I had to lead all my clients through to get their business 100% online. So yeah, some very scary waters there, but we did it. And I have to tell you, the ones that stuck it out with me and were my ride or die type of people, we are all so much better for it and are actually thriving now because we had to adapt to COVID.
I love it. I love hearing stories of businesses thriving. So the other thing that has happened in all of this is you are also the spouse of a military member who happens to not be home right now. So running a business and a household with a spouse gone, but I hear he's coming home soon.
Yes, ma'am. We are down to 17 days. I have been counting down the days for a while. My husband is still active duty Army. He's a sergeant first class. He is also a biomedical equipment technician, so a 68 Alpha. And since September of last year, he has been in South Korea. And so, you know, we chose, for any of my Army families out there, I know that, you know, when a service member gets stationed in South Korea, the family can go with them. They can bring their dependents, but then we would have done 3 years. And what was really the deterrent for us, Brenda, is that I'm in the last year of my doctorate and I'm in my residency at UCCS. And if we would have left, if my son and I would have gone overseas with my husband, I would have lost my residency, and it would have pushed my graduation to, you know, obtaining my doctorate back quite a few years. So we decided against that, and we decided that we would just get through it. It's not our first rodeo. But yeah, he's doing great over there. He's got about a little under 4 years left till he retires off active duty. Super excited about that. Love where we're at. Love Colorado Springs. I have to say, this is probably the first time in my life that I've really, really felt like I'm part of a community, and we are happy to stay for as long as we can.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit. I mean, you chose to stay, and Army families can either go or choose to stay. There's a lot of times, though, that your spouse deploys and you don't even have that choice. So for our spouses that are watching right now, whether they're in Colorado Springs or not, but obviously if they're here in Colorado Springs, what do you do to cope, and how do you get through that separation? Because it's critical as a spouse to be able to weather that, we'll call it a storm or whatever you want to call it. Because we all know the divorce rate is really high in the service. And so let's give those spouses that might be struggling right now, do you have a couple of tips for them to ride out the storm or ride out the wait?
Yes, absolutely. And it is so hard. And you're right. The statistics are alarming, right? And, you know, I had briefly mentioned that this wasn't our first rodeo, but I do want to also just caveat that with this year, I think I've done the most personal development and the personal growth than I have in any other year of my life. And that was pivotal to our success, both on my side and my husband doing the hard work as well, right? So we've been married for 12 years and we've gone years apart, we've gone months apart, we've gone weeks apart, right? It kind of keeps going. But, you know, the first thing that we have to remember, so all of the spouses that are listening and the service members, because you're over there and you're by yourself, and that's difficult too. And that's what I had to have some grace this year trying to put myself in my husband's shoes. He's by himself and there's nothing that he can do. I'm over here holding down the fort, taking care of the kids, working really hard. So I have a little bit more autonomy in how I can go about this year. But really it was remembering you can do this. You've probably done it before. And if you haven't, yes, there are times that are going to be painful and it's going to go up and down. There's going to be times, just like with everything in life, the success in your business, the relationships that you have, the money coming in and going, it ebbs and it flows. But remembering that you can absolutely do this is first. Second, do the work. Do the work internally, do the personal development, do the growth. I just got a whole body chill, Brenda. So we're about to go to church here. So it's really about doing that work though, right? And knowing who you are and what you bring to the table, being comfortable in your own skin and remembering that even though you're a partnership, it's okay for you to do your thing and that person to do their thing individually for a little while you're not together. And lastly, do not build walls. We all do that. It is our defense mechanism. We think that it keeps us safe, right? That's our critter brain trying to keep us safe from all of the pain and the vulnerability and all the things that we could happen. So we push each other away and we build walls. And we see it typically weeks before the service member leaves. And then we see it even more the weeks coming up to them returning home. Friends, I have 17 days left. And believe me when I say it's taken everything in me to not push away and to not build those walls because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what are all the changes that we're going to have to go through when my husband gets home. It's been a year. I'm taking inventory of all the things that changed around my house because I don't want him to feel like he's a stranger returning in his own home. But don't build those walls. Do this together. Lean on your partner and lean on whatever support system you have at home. It is critical to you getting through a separation like this.
So that is awesome advice. And I would add one more thing, lean on your family, but your family can be your military family or your community, because there are many people out there that are separated from their families and they're well connected to their families. They're not living in the city where their family is, so they're separated from them too. So please lean on the military community, lean on the local community, especially here in Colorado Springs. Any place that has a military community, a large military community like here, most of them are open arms and wanting to support you in any way they possibly can. So you're not in it alone. That's the big thing that I want to share today. There are so many different support systems out there for military spouses. So next, your business. We've kind of talked a little bit about it in a roundabout way because you help people, especially in business, to navigate and set up systems and to achieve their dreams and their goals. So let's talk about that and what makes Trinity different.
Okay.
And why would a business owner even want to consider taking some of your courses or coaching or mastermind? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Miss Brenda. So I'm a self-mastery and business coach. And when I say self-mastery, I mean in any area of your life. It's really getting down to developing the skill set in a very specific area that makes it easier for you, right? Gives you a pathway now that you can just walk right up to achieve your goals. And so when I first started my business, it was really as a means to put an end to all the gaps in my resume. Right? So my spouses out there, you know that every time that your service member is on orders and you PCS, you have to quit your job and you have to go unemployed for however long. Now with the world changing and people being, way more remote and online than they used to be even just 5 years ago, hopefully those opportunities will be there for you to, keep your position or move up into a better one so you can keep it when you move. But that wasn't really an option for me. And so when I first started my business, I was coming out of a healthcare administration career. And I decided that I wanted to help all of these smaller private practice, physician-owned, physician-ran medical groups. And so whether that was family practice or something, more non-traditional like chiropractic or medical massage therapy, I spent my first couple of years just helping little practices all over the US learn how to run their administration. So we talk about the struggles, we talk about the sacrifices of being a spouse of an active duty service member, but let's talk about the blessings for a second here, right? So I understand that I had to quit my job like you, right, and go unemployed for several months at a time every time we PCS. However, and God is good, I was able to not only stay in my career every time that we moved, but I was able to very effectively, efficiently continue to move up that corporate ladder in that corporate healthcare world. And I had the privilege of working with medical organizations, administrations, hospitals, groups, small offices, multi-specialty, VA. I worked for the VA. I worked at the active duty hospital, like all of it, right? For years. And I got to watch some of the best teach me everything that they do well. And of course, I got to experience some of the worst, right? But those are all learning. That's all lessons that we take with us, these little nuggets along our journey. And so through that, I've got to tell you, it really opened my eyes, right? So the things that we see the things that we see that are done very well here and not so well here are the same issues in every other state, in every other organization. We're all people, and we are all trying to navigate through the same challenges in our institutions, in our organizations, in our corporations, in our businesses. And so when I transitioned out of that corporate healthcare and into business ownership, again, the first couple of years serving my medical people, I realized that I could help so many more people. And when I started my doctorate, Brenda, I know we talked about this a little bit, I had to decide very quickly what I wanted to spend the next 3 years of my life working on. And so when I narrowed it all down, it really was that alarming statistic. We talk about statistics all the time, that 50 to 60% of all new businesses go out of business in their first 5 years.
Yep.
Why? Why does this happen to us? And so that's what I've done the last couple of years, is I spent the last 2.5 years going on 3, trying to uncover the why and bridge the gap so that I can help the business owners that I work with so that they don't become that statistic, and better yet, so that they flourish. So what makes Trinity different? Well, like I said, I've been able to work with people all over the world, all over the United States. I've seen so many stages and so many levels of success, so many stages and so many levels of broken. And I've got to walk alongside different organizations and different people on their journey until they got to that point where they just moved right up the mountain and now they are flourishing in their business. And there is nothing more fulfilling than walking alongside a business owner that did this for themselves, had a vision, and made their own vision their own reality.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And so let's talk about people that are getting ready to retire or separate from the service in the next, hopefully they're planning 3 to 5 years out. 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you have for them, whether it be to go off into another career or to own their own business. What words of advice would you have for somebody in those shoes?
Yeah, so 2 things. First, do the research on where you want to retire when you get out, where you want to plant your roots, right? You've got enough time. Start doing this years out. Visit the places, go on vacation, see if you can get your branch to station you there for a little bit so that you can start building roots in that community. But really do the research where you want to plant your roots, because regardless of what you decide to do with your life on your journey, when you separate from the service, where you plant your roots is going to have a profound impact on your success, your happiness, your longevity, and your families, right? So really do that research, really get out there and visit those places. But also, the military does have a lot of resources. They have a lot of education resources. They have a lot of external third-party resources in communities through the VA. Take advantage of them. So whatever area that you're like in your body just makes you a nervous wreck when you think about having to navigate those waters, when you separate, start preparing, developing the skills, honing in your self-mastery on those things right now. So if you're like, I don't want to do outside of the Army or military what I did in the military, then start going to school. You have tuition assistance. Don't use your GI Bill until you get out. Take advantage of all the things you have while you're active duty, or you're a reserve, or you are active guard, whatever that looks like. If it is, really getting immersed into the community, take advantage of the plans. Take advantage of going out there and meeting and greeting. Brenda, you kicked us off and talked about how important networking is. Friends, networking is important for all of us, not just business owners. So take advantage of all of those resources.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we could talk for hours, Trinity, but how can people reach out to you and connect with you to learn more about Trinity and what she offers?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Very important question. So obviously I'm on social media everywhere. If you look me up on LinkedIn, it's Trinity Albertson. If you want to reach out to me and email me, I am happy to hear from you. I want to hear your story. I want to support you on your journey as you strive to achieve your goals. And I'm always looking for genuine connections. So shoot me an email at Trinity, TRINITY, at pathtoursolutions.com. You can check out my business at pathtoursolutions.com and the program that I've developed through my doctorate, which is theaspireprogram.com. But connect, absolutely connect. I really look forward to hearing from any of you that wants to share your story.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on this morning, Trinity. There were so many golden nuggets this morning for spouses and for businesses. And so I appreciate you taking the time out and sharing with my audience this morning. So anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to share?
Thank you so much for having me. This was really an honor. I love sharing my story and my experiences, and I really do believe that we are all better together.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And for those of you watching, thank you for watching Military Mondays. You can go and see other episodes at militarymondays.info. So that's militarymondays.info. And if you're a business owner, you can even fill in your information there, and I will connect with you and maybe feature you on a Military Mondays. And I will also put below in the comments the link to our book, so that those of you who want to grab our book for free can grab the book for free. You just pay shipping and handling. So I wanted to offer that today. And I hope to see you all next Monday on Military Mondays. Bye, everyone.